wanted to do a live video here, and just talk a little bit about evicting a buyer. Now, in the video description, it says on a lease purchase, but I say that because if I said evicting a buyer on a contract for deed, a lot of people have no idea what that is, or they're maybe it's called bond for deed, or um, what else can it be called? Agreement for deed. So, anyways, what today we had our very first court hearing ever on an owner finance deal that we sold someone. So it's kind of a big deal, which really attests to the fact that we vet our buyers extremely well. We check their ability to repay. We are compliant with the lending laws. We do a good job, and our ratio of issues with buyers is extremely low. We've never forcibly taken a property back from a buyer that we've sold a property to on some form of owner financing. We've never had to do it yet. It will happen. But today we had our very first court case on a buyer. Now, this was a land contract for deed, agreement for deed, bond for deed, same thing. Executory contract, same thing. Okay, but this was a land contract for deed, that we had an issue with a buyer. All right, we had an issue with a buyer. She was not making her payments and fell behind. Now, we were extremely generous with this individual. And there's a lot of background to this story about the house itself. I can't give too much detail, but it's a very nice house, and we gave the buyer an extremely good interest rate, like embarrassingly low. Now, we did get a big down payment, which was nice on this deal. However, expensive property, newer property, in an area which is like the nicest area in the county, basically. And an amazing sub-2 deal, by the way. Should I mention that our loan, a VA loan on this property, it's not the one where we have a due on sale right now, by the way. Different deal. But just got a bid on a reglaze of a tub. Okay, kind of pricey there, but anyways, VA loan, 3% mortgage, VA, so no PMI or MIP, which is great because that can kill cash flow. If you have an FHA and it's got MIP or PMI, aka mortgage insurance, that can kill your cash flow. So just be aware of that. VA loan, great interest rate. Our arbitrage on it is not fantastic. A couple 12 bandit signs. So I always try and take those calls because those are my buyers. All right. You got to see my RA Black Book. Look at that. Okay. So let's see here. Where was I? By the way, look at that view. Look at that view of my office. It's the best view in my house, and I had to fight tooth and nail for this not to be the baby's room, because I said I don't want to move my office into the basement, and so I had to remodel our kids' bedroom and put a bunk bed in there to fight for that view. Okay. So, first court case, first eviction, and it went favorably in our case. Okay, so let me tell you what happened. What happened was the buyer was behind $20,000. Big mortgage payment, okay, big land contract payment to us. Part of that is the jurisdiction where this house is, very high taxes. I would not want to live there myself. Big tax bill, and that took a really good deal, a really good interest rate in the fives. I'll say it, it's in the fives that we gave this individual. And it's a very expensive housing payment, kind of. I mean, actually for that home, it's not, but for all the other kind of deals that I do, it's on the higher end of things. So when somebody gets behind and their payments, in the, close to $3,000 a month, that adds up real fast. And when you're in a state, aka Illinois, where you have to give 90-day notice before you can take court action. 90 days before you can file an eviction. That's a long period of time. And so, we were already being a little bit graceful on the front end, and then 3 months go by. So they're like, these payments were just collecting up. And so this individual owes us what, with late fees, close to 20 grand or something. So we had a really good attorney, which was referred to us from my mentor. It helps to have a mentor in this space because it's a complicated business model. Let's be honest. Seller financing is very complicated. Shouldn't do it if you don't like, if you're not built to handle complex matters. If you are, you're gonna love seller financing, okay? But otherwise it'll drive you crazy. I had a mentor and he was really great, and he gave me the referral to this attorney. Really good attorney. So he did a great job. And so I just get a call today after the court hearing, or after the court hearing, and basically we settled with the individual. I think it's called a court order. Where the buyer effectively, they agreed to pay a big chunk, like right now, which they paid. And then the rest of the balance, including the attorney fees and late fees, has to get paid over time. We agreed to like a certain amount per month, 500, 600, something like that per month extra on top of their regular payment until it's all caught up. And once it's caught up, then we would file a satisfaction of the judgment, and then she would just get to keep the house, right? However, the nice thing about this court order is that if they don't make the payment and they're late, we don't have to go through this whole process again. We get back to the court, show evidence of no payment, and can get a judgment, like a rent in possession judgment, effectively an eviction judgment, which expedites the process. So truly amazing outcome. I think, because had we said, no, we're not going to take it, she needs to catch it up now, then we'd have to go to trial. And then if we won, best case scenario, it'd be another 30 days. So potentially 60 days or so even out from now. But if she challenged it and things got complicated, then it could be even more time. So actually a really good outcome in a landlord-friendly state, in my opinion. So I don't know where people are doing their deals out there. It varies state to state. But I will say, I was a little bit nervous. I guess I was thinking about this morning, just kind of anticipating a call from the attorney as to how things were going to go. Obviously, we kind of hoped that she wasn't going to show up because it's been a big pain in our butt. We are making our payment every single month, losing cash flow because we're not getting paid. But here's the deal. When you are a lender instead of a landlord, it's not a matter of if you get paid, it's a matter of when you get paid. I've heard that said before. I think it's probably true. So yeah, not having somebody pay, get behind several months, it does hurt your cash flow bottom line. And since I live off my cash flow of properties, I don't have another job. This is how I make a living. It definitely gets to you when you're looking at that negative on your ledger. And you're like, all right, it's going to be a skinnier month because this person's not paying. But what's nice is, scaling up fixes that problem. Scaling up smartly fixes that problem. Buy more houses, get a bigger cash flow amount every single month. Then you can afford to have a few delinquencies, and it's not going to crush you. It's not going to hurt you. You just build it into the numbers, right? You kind of factor in that at any given time, about 5% of my portfolio is probably not going to be performing. You're going to be late or something like that. Again, I don't anticipate having to forcibly remove this individual from the house. I think that this was what this individual needed. They are a tough cookie, all right? We've negotiated back and forth a lot, my buyer on this house. And I just have the feeling, I'm not a psychologist, that she needs a court order to pay. I don't know why. I don't need a court order to pay my bills. I don't need a lawyer threatening me to pay my mortgage and my other 40 mortgages that I have. I just pay them, okay? Because that's the right thing to do. You just friggin' pay your bills, all right? It pisses me off. People don't pay their crap that they know they need to pay. But some people need forcible, like they need to be forced to do it. They need to see that, oh, this is the consequence. I am going to lose all of my equity, everything I put in this house, actually. And I guarantee you, there will be people who, even when they're they're looking down the barrel of that gun, they're still not going to pay, and they're just going to lose everything, because I've seen this happen a million times with foreclosures. This is the psychology of somebody in foreclosure who would rather get foreclosed on than sell to a cash buyer. Happens every day, a lot, and it blows my mind. Thankfully, I don't think I have that kind of person in this house. I do think that they are irrational, and at some point after you negotiate enough times, it's okay to say, I'm dealing kind of with somebody irrational who I can't talk sense into, and they will not see my point. So I have to use the law. I have to hire an attorney. We have to do this. I have another such case, which we'll see where that one goes, but it's amazing. People start coughing up money when you start to go down that route and you show you're serious. I bought my first property before I had a child, or was it before? It was right around our firstborn son. But I didn't know anything about parenting. Obviously, I didn't know anything about like disciplining a child until they start to get, over a year old or so. And so I had my first tenant before my child was of that age, and I was really not a good disciplinarian. Having had kids, being a father of two sons, and now a daughter, but two, 6-year-old and 4-year-old, I just don't take any prisoners now. And it's amazing the parallel between human beings, adults and children, adults who want to rebel and don't want to listen to authority, and children who want to rebel against their parents and don't want to listen to authority. It's the exact same psychology. And if you're dealing with a child, you just have to show them that you mean it, and then they will respect you. Obviously not violently, not unethically, but you stay true to your word. You say, if you do this, then this will be the consequence. Not messing around. Try me. And then they mess around, they find out. They don't get snack time after dinner, or they don't get any screen time that day. They listen to daddy, don't necessarily listen to mommy. So when you're dealing with your tenants, your tenant buyers, or your buyers, this is the mentality that I recommend having. Be extremely kind, extremely personable, amicable, a delight to be around, but have that tone. You have to be willing to flash your dark side. And I've told people you have to be willing to be a little bit of an ass. If you're not willing to do that, you should not be in the situation of being a landlord or being a lender on owner financing. You have to have a little bit of that in you. If you're going to be dealing, and I'll say this, well, you could say, well, I'll just do property management, or, I'll just, do note servicing. put my notes, the contract for deed, my wrap mortgage with the servicer. Yes, but when they don't pay still, you're going to need to reach out to them. That's going to be the best course of action because you have a relationship, hopefully a good one, positive one, because you're the one who provided them an amazing opportunity, and so therefore they love you. They may not love you, but at least they have some kind of fondness that you afforded them this opportunity when others were saying no. You said yes, so you're going to reach out to them anyways, even if there is a property manager or a note servicer. That's the right thing to do, and you're going to need to hold to your guns. You're going to need to know where the line is, and what I would recommend is that you determine where the line is before you're forced in that situation. Once you have a late payment or a delinquency, you kind of need to determine quickly. Look at your books, your ledgers, your cash reserves, and you just say, okay, this person, if they don't make a payment by this date, then that's really the bottom line, and I need to take action. And I've been guilty of not doing it, of not taking action soon enough. And part of that is just growing up, having more responsibility, and then quickly you're like, all right, my wife stopped working when she decided to stay home and homeschool, and so her little part-time job, now it all falls on me and my portfolio of property. So if somebody doesn't pay, I take it personally. I take it very personally. And again, we've never forcibly taken a property back from anybody. We don't predatory lend. We vet our buyers carefully, make sure they have the ability to repay, and have great relationships with them. So yeah, we have delinquencies, we have slow pays, and we've had no pays, but so far none of the no pays have turned into I got to come up with something that rhymes with no pay. Whatever, I'll AI that later. But we've never had to take anybody back, take property back from forcibly. We've taken properties back. So my whole point here is, well, just to celebrate a positive outcome. A check for 10 grand, which is nice. That catches up some late payments, and yeah, a good attorney when you need them is worth their weight in gold. Even though I abhor attorneys, most attorneys I abhor. That might be a little strong, but the good ones are precious. I think we found ourselves a good one here. So that's awesome. And yeah, stick to it. Keep buying properties. Don't be afraid. If you're afraid and not buying properties, not taking action in your real estate endeavors, you will ultimately just fail. So squat up with somebody who knows what they're doing. It's a tricky market right now. And yeah, get involved, leave a comment, reach out to me if you're in need of any guidance. But yeah, I just figured I'd give a quick update here. It's kind of fun doing some of these lives and giving just a window into what the day-to-day of an actual investor looks like, dealing with crap. So yeah, it depends on where you are. I know that I see the comment by Vish. But yeah, man, it depends on where you are. It depends on where you are, because those southern markets have gotten hammered, and yeah, it's an artificially inflated market. That's true, but that's I'll tell you what. If you buy Chris Crone, I'll end on this. Chris Crone is some influencer. I watch his videos. He's kind of fun guy. He's an influencer. Who knows what that guy's really up to? But he speaks a lot of truth, a lot of sense. Some of the stuff he says really makes sense. And one thing he said one time, Chris Crone, again, not Mike, my hero or anything, but he said something that made sense, which was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath starter home will always be in demand. It's like the most affordable house in the lower middle class, kind of. If you get that kind of house, which is the kind of house I'm focusing on buying, Guess what? It's not that unaffordable. It's actually pretty stinking affordable still. So invest in the Midwest. Starter houses, 3 beds, 2 baths, nothing fancy. 150 to 250 price range. And yeah, it's an artificially inflated market, but that house, the 150 to 250 in the Midwest, always going to be in demand. Always going to be in demand. And those payments are not going to be crazy. They're just not going to be that crazy. Yeah, once you're up in the 6s, 7s, 8s in these crazy markets, now we're talking unaffordable. So yeah, I'll end on that.